Okay, so the way this all came about is Lacey had done a training for her team, and I just kept hearing really good things about it. And so I watched a little bit of it, saw what her topic was, and I thought, I get these same similar questions all the time about finding your leaders, finding your business builder. And I thought, what an amazing training that everyone needs to hear, whether you have zero business builders or you have 10 or you're brand new or you've been doing this for several years. Like, this is a training that everyone can benefit no matter where they're at. And Lacey just did a really phenomenal job sharing that information. So for any of you who don't know me, I hope I know all of you, but I'm Tamara Holloway and I'm a Diamond Ambassador, and Lacey is my level 3. And I have just so enjoyed watching her grow and just, seeing her journey play out. And she really, really has a lot of wisdom and passion to share with us. So Lacey, take it away.
Awesome. Thank you. I don't know that I have a ton of wisdom that you guys haven't already heard, because I feel like it's all stuff that we hear from other, diamonds. And like a lot of this was actually kind of came from Genevieve, and I'll explain that too. But I always think repetition is good. So even if you've heard it, hopefully it'll resonate with you anyway, or you'll pick something else up that you're like, oh yeah, like that's a good way to do that. But okay, so my name is Lacey. I live in a teeny tiny town in North Dakota. I'm about an hour from the Canadian border, and I'm about an hour from Minnesota. So I'm way up in the corner. I I live in a town of about 200 people. So if people tell you that or if you think that you're in a small town and can't do this, you can, because I also have a Ruby on my team in the same location. So it's totally doable. But I want to tell you a little bit about my story, and then I'll share my screen and show you. I have a little PowerPoint too. But I started Plexus because I had a special needs son. At the time, he was 5, almost 6, and he had cerebral palsy. And so he was very challenged. He was born premature. He's a twin. But we always struggled with pooping, and we lived on Miralax, like you hear a lot of people. And so I really wanted to help with that. I did not think anything past the constipation. Like he had other struggles too, but I didn't know what I didn't know. I didn't know that it would help with other things. But so within a couple months, like he was pooping like clockwork, which was huge. And I pretty much started sharing myself right away. And honestly, it was kind of not because I knew anything about network marketing or what I was doing. I really just wanted to my friend Liz was asking me to do it, and I was like, okay, I'll help her out, whatever. I'll post. But I had a ton of interest, and it was wild, like how many friends and family I didn't know, that struggled. You guys all know that. And so anyway, so I'm an emerald now, which is awesome. But truly, I started the products with my son. I lost 25 pounds over probably like a 6-month period. My energy, of course, was way better. I was sleeping way better. But I feel like mostly when I share, it's my son's story, because he not only got off of Miralax and we never touched it again, but it really helped his acid reflux. Like, he used to vomit every time we fed him. He had a feeding tube. And of course, just with being premature, it was really common for him to reflux. And it was every feeding, to the point where he was on his own growth chart. Our dietitian was just giving us ideas for extra calories and all that. But so he ended up gaining weight, just really healthily, not a lot at a time, but just a very nice, healthy weight gain where he just filled out, and even his skin color was so much better. And then his pooping was helped. He wasn't vomiting anymore. And yeah, so just a lot of things like that. But that's why I started. That's kind of how I got to Plexus, I guess. But what I'm going to talk to you guys about today. So we hosted a gold retreat for our team we had it in Scottsdale. So of course we got to tour corporate. Genevieve spent some time with us and gave us a little bit of training. And so honestly, what I'm going to talk to you about is a lot of her verbiage and just a lot of her ideas of how to really share boldly and find those leaders. So I'm going to share my screen so I don't forget. Okay. Okay. If you guys, I can't see the chat or anything now. So if you guys, just holler if you have questions. So like I was saying, this honestly comes mostly like from Genevieve, or this was really inspired by her, because it's just about like how to find your leaders and how to boldly ask them to do the business with you. So how do we find leaders? Like what do we look for when we're looking for leaders or people to do the business for us? One thing that really stuck out to me that we talked about was like, even Genevieve kind of said, like, we shouldn't just be looking for the people that really want money, or we should be looking for people that really want money, not necessarily the ones that really, really need it. And the reason is because there's a lot of people out there that are already making six figures. So like us saying, oh, hey, I have a six-figure salary and drive a Lexus, that might not be something that is really going to attract them to us even. And a lot of times too, sometimes the people that really need the money, they don't always understand that, like, what we do is work. Like, you guys know that, like, what we do is hard. Like, we have to work for it. And so it's not just easy money either. But when I'm looking for somebody that I want to do this business with me, or that I think is a leader, I'm always looking for somebody that's already successful in something, whether it's, I mean, they might have a job already that they're very successful at, or even just being a stay-at-home mom, but you can tell like they have that passion, and I have a girl that she's a dream teamer of mine. I would love for her to do this business with me. She adds so much value on social media. I don't even think she realizes she does it. But she is always sharing the books she's reading and quotes from the books, and relates it to like parenting. And she's really good about doing different crafts with her kids and like sensory bin stuff. And I'm a PT also. And so that stuff just catches my eye, because I'm like, oh, that's such a good thing for any mom really to know about. But I love those people that just, they're already adding value to us. And so I think she would be excellent at this. I'm still working on her, but so they're people that are already successful. You want to look for people that are reliable, like, people that say they're going to do what they say they're going to do. Show up to calls, show up to things. People that you can tell they have a lot of energy or excitement around them. Maybe on social media, like you can just tell, like they have fun, like you can tell they love what they do, or they're very positive. This is like returning phone calls and texts isn't one I really thought about until probably just recently. And Genevieve said it too, but she just was kind of like, again, that kind of goes with the reliability, like people who don't like answer you back or return your phone call. Do you really want to work with them? like that might be kind of painful to work with that person. But again, somebody that's just very positive, maybe on social media, they're commenting positively. You don't want somebody that's super negative, or always complaining. Those ambitious or very driven people, they have a lot of integrity. They do what they say they're going to do, and they're very empathetic.
Shar, it's time to actually pick this stuff up. You can play with your dolls after.
I was at Leadership Excellence, and Alec spoke to us a couple times, and he shared 4 things that he felt make us successful, basically. So the first one was always having something to do, like a purpose, like having something. And I think about that with like, what am I going to do when my kids are in school? What am I going to do when my kids graduate? Like having something to do. The second thing was having something or someone to love, having something to believe in. And the last one was needing something to hope for. So I just thought those were kind of 4 things that were really interesting to think about.
Well, that's a guess, but no, because when you promised me you wouldn't do something, you did it anyway.
Hi,
mute if you're not.
Someone on the Samsung SM, it doesn't have a name. Could you mute, please?
I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
Okay, so let's see here. So looking for leaders, this was kind of an awesome stat that Jen shared with us, but if you reach out to 90 people in 30 days, you guys, that's 3 people a day and business asks a day, not just like sharing about the products, but 3 business asks, you by the end of the month will have 2 business builders. So she just, you guys know Genevieve, like she's just very bold and very, why are we holding back about this awesome opportunity that we have? And I think too, like utilizing, if you do earn a trip or some fun incentive, like, I don't know about you guys, but when I go to convention or get back from convention or any of the trips, like you kind of have that fire in your belly, like you're excited and you're fired up to share about it a little bit more. And those are great times, obviously, to send these really bold messages. But I think utilizing those trips that we earn because we have that confidence. But this was some verbiage from Genevieve. She just is like, hey, I earned a trip to Hawaii. There's an incredible opportunity for me basically with this company. And I want 3 or 4 people to come with me and that want a leadership role. Like just boldly asking like, hey, who wants to be a leader on my team? Like I said, using those trips, just, I think when we feel that confidence, it's so much easier to send those bold messages to those dream teamers.
Lacey,
Yeah.
to piggyback on that just a little bit,
Yeah.
I had a level 1 who joined me, and we had actually talked some, and she had been watching my posts for a while, several months. I had sent her samples, et cetera, et cetera. And she said what actually ended up selling her and really wanting to try it is when I went to convention and I was posting all about convention and like the fun activities we were doing and just the community and the culture and the friendships I had made. And she thought, that looks like so much fun. And so what I learned in that moment was that is not necessarily what would draw me in, because that's not as much my personality. Like I was more intrigued about the business opportunity and the financial freedom I wanted for my family. But that taught me something, that not everybody's like me. People are driven by many different things. They're motivated by many different things. And so as you're sharing like a full compass of all that Plexus has to offer, friendships, culture, being a part of something bigger than ourselves, being able to give back, the financial freedom, the friendships, the fun, like you're going to attract different types of people. And so I always try to keep that in the forefront of my mind. I want to show a complete picture of what Plexus is, because I never know what might draw someone in. It's not always going to be the products. It wasn't for her, and now she's a jewel on my team. And so you just have to make sure you're sharing all the facets of what this opportunity has to offer.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. This is some more verbiage that Genevieve kind of shared with us, but I really liked it. It gives people control over their answer. If you're kind of like, not sure if this is for you or not, but this is what I have, or are you open to hearing this? But I really liked how she kind of pointed out, if somebody says, no, I'm not interested, or it's not for me, just kind of challenging them and saying like, if not, that's totally fine. But how do you feel like your life is going to look 5 years from now? So basically like, hey, if you don't do anything about this, you were just telling me that your husband never is home and because he works all the time, or you wait till you're paid to go to the grocery store because you're just not sure if it's going to work, whatever. And just kind of challenging them to kind of think about like, what's it going to look like if you don't take this step? All right. Oops. I don't know what I did there. Sorry, guys. Okay. I always like, you guys know, like this business ebbs and flows so much. We all know that, like, we know we have really high momentum, good times, and we can have some valleys. So just remembering to really trust the process and know that like we have to just keep repeating things. Like I was just telling my friend Liz before I jumped on here, I was like, I'm nervous to share with you guys because I don't feel like I have any like this great outstanding wisdom, but it's just that repetition that I think really helps us to realize like we just have to keep sharing. Like even if you've been bold with somebody before and you've asked them, like don't just never ask again. Like we just have to keep digging for that gold. Like we all probably have gold sitting in our back office right now, and we just haven't gotten it out yet. And it'll come. Sometimes it's timing. We all know that too, but just trust the process and keep going. This is just some more verbiage too that I thought was really good, really fun of Genevieve. So basically, if somebody's kind of, if you've done the bold asking, you've, asked about the business, not really interested, or they're just, not really, I don't know, not really picking up on it, I guess. Another thing, and I've done this with a lot of people, just saying like, we really pride ourselves in helping people get the products paid for. And so we don't want it to be a financial issue if you can't continue. And I honestly really like to set that expectation in the beginning, because I want to let people know that I don't want this you're not ordering for 1 month. Like I want you to give this a good 3 to 4 months, if not longer. And so if you kind of set that up in the beginning, it's just a lot easier to even ask, like be bold later on and ask for them to join you. And if they kind of realize like, oh, I can make money while I take these products and not have to budget for them, even if all they do is get to silver, at least they've paid for their first 90 days. I think that's a win. And I think once we get them to silver, then we get them to gold, especially if it's someone that, you can kind of start to develop a little bit into a leader and maybe starts to see the vision a little bit. But if any of you haven't listened to Genevieve, you need to, because she's so fun to listen to. But I can just hear her excitement when she's like, wasn't that fun? Let's do that again. So you get somebody silver and just keep asking them like, hey, that was awesome. We just got your mom and your sister and your friend to join us. Like, let's get some more people to join us, or let's have your sister ask a few people. Let's teach your friends how to get their products paid for. So just keep asking. Like it seems repetitive, but just keep asking. Or wasn't it fun? You just earned $400. Like that's kind of fun to celebrate that stuff. And then of course, like you're not I honestly, I've had this little negative voice in my head all day today that I have not had hardly anybody come to me for the business. Like most of my people honestly are product takers. So my voice in my head today was like, Lacey, why are you talking about like attracting leaders when I'm not necessarily attracting people that come to me just for the business, but I do have a lot of duplication on my team. And I think it's just because I am repetitively asking people to share or to, shout out their wins or whatever. So don't forget about like your just happy product takers they're in your back office. When they share a win, I'm probably not every check-in, but I'm always like celebrating that win and saying, hey, that's awesome. But remind them that they can earn money if they share with a few friends. But I really like this verbiage too. I know you signed up for the products, but hey, there's an awesome income potential behind the products. And I don't want you to miss out on that. Like, love to help you. So I thought that was kind of a good way to ask too. But don't forget about those people. Make it easy and you'll attract the sleazy. So for a long time, I feel like when I started, it was like, hey, make a post and we'll get 3 people to sign up under you and you're going to make like $300 or $400. And it just almost came across as like, this is super easy to make, $300 or $400. And you guys, again, that what we do is not easy. It does take work. For some people, they get those like people that sign up right away. And for others, they do have to work for months before they even hit silver. And so I think this is just a good reminder, like, don't make it sound like what we do is easy or it's easy money or it's free money, because the people that are looking for free money are typically not the ones that are going to work for it. So you're going to get those kind of sleazy people and honestly, you're going to drag them. Like it's exhausting. It's not going to be fun. You don't want to drag anybody, obviously, anyway, or either, I should say. But we know that, like, we have simple systems. You guys know that you add people to your group, you tag them in things, you follow up with them. Okay. So again, I just like you've done the bold ask, you've, asked them to be on your team, you've asked them to share about the products, you've asked them to at least get their products paid for, and they're just like, nope, not interested in any of that. It's okay to just fall back on our products, you guys. Like, we have incredible products. You guys probably all know this. Like, I think it's very easy to lead with the business because I always have the products to go back to and just say like, hey, that's okay, but I really like active because I don't need to take a nap in the middle of the afternoon to keep up with my kids, or, something like that. So just remember to share, it's okay to like, don't do a business ask and then be like, okay, that's fine. Like, and leave it. Like, we always have something to fall back on when we lead with the business. Again, too, that's like keeping that expectation kind of upfront that, they can commit to that 90 days and then, get their products paid for too. You can bring that up again too after they fall in love with the products, basically. But the very last thing I have, I just really like this quote from John Maxwell. Goals will always take more time than you think. They'll cost more than you think, and they're more work than you think. I think that just goes along with the whole, like, don't just make what we do sound really easy to people. It does take work. Like, it takes time, and it sometimes you have to invest in yourself or invest in your business to see fruit from that. So that's kind of my big, I am sorry, I'm not watching the chat. So if you guys have any questions, holler.
Pulling up the chat right now to see if there's any. If anyone has any question, you feel free to get off mute. We have a few minutes.
Yeah.
Thank you, Lacey, for sharing all of that. And I think what you said was so true. Like, there may not be something real specific that we have never heard before, but to me, Emily Burgess and I were recently talking about how sometimes we overcomplicate this business. And really, if we just focused on the basics over and over and over again, and we taught the basics to our team over and over and over again, that is so much more productive than always trying to come up with like some new strategy or some special magic phrase. It's like, just do the basics. The basics is what works in this business. And that is consistently sharing. That is growing your funnel of new connections. That's building trust and influence and connection with people. I mean, this business is all about people. It's asking boldly about the business. It is sharing our products consistently. Like, those are the basics that are the absolute core of being successful. Yes, there's going to be a certain IPA challenge that really helps your business move forward. There's going to be a reset group that really helps you bring in some new customers. There's always going to be those outlier things that we do, but really your foundation is those things I just shared that you want to do day in and day out. And so I so appreciate you just running through and like sharing. These are the basics of finding leaders in this business and encouraging people to continue to search for that gold. One of my very favorite analogies, you guys, that I heard very early on was, if someone told me that I had a couple pieces of gold in my backyard, would I like sit around and hope I found it? Maybe over the next couple years, I might go spend a few minutes digging up a hole. No. If someone said you have $1 million worth of gold out in your yard, I would be out there immediately, and I'd be having my husband out there and my kids out there, and we'd be digging and digging and digging until we found it. And that has always stuck with me, because I think it's so easy for us to sometimes just hope we find something that's really valuable, or maybe it'll come in time. And yes, maybe it will come in time, and maybe we will find something valuable. But if we aren't putting those efforts in to dig and search for that gold, it's very unlikely that it's going to fall into your lap. It could happen, but it's unlikely. And so that is something I've always taught and held on tightly to myself, is I've got to go search for my gold. I've got to look for it and cultivate it and dig for it, because it's not likely just going to show up. So I think that was a really good reminder as well. And it made me think of literally years ago when I heard that, and it's stuck with me ever since.
Mm-hmm. I love that analogy. And I just think like Jamie just said, like the confidence to do the ask. It can be hard, but I mean, what are they going to do? They're going to say no, or they're going to ghost you. Well, then you've planted a seed. Or they say no, and you say, well, you should really try these products because they're awesome. They help me sleep, whatever their problems are.
Yeah. Yeah. And I like the phrase, and I've used it a lot. You know, this may or may not be for you. And you're not saying that in a negative way, like this may not be for you, but it's like, hey, listen, this may be for you. It may not. But would you be willing to just let me share it with you? Because I'm really excited about it. And I get not everyone's going to have my same level of passion. I get that. Like, trust me. But I'd love to share it with you because I am passionate about it. And if, you know, I've had people tell me no, and my husband and I even say this, not about Plexus necessarily, but of course it applies to Plexus. What's the worst thing that can happen? They say no. Like you said, Lacey, they say no, or they ghost you. I mean, that's the two most common things. If it's a no, is they're just going to straight up tell you not interested at all, or they're just not going to respond. And I've had both happen to me numerous times. So we have to get over like that, looking at it as rejection and having an emotion tied to it. And instead know that if they don't respond well or at all, then at least you asked, at least you knew, right? And it gives you a reason, like Lacey said, to say, okay, I get it. You know what? It took me months before I was even thinking about the business or whatever your story is. But have you seen my post about the reset? Girl, let me tell you, I lost 5 pounds in 3 days, you know, whatever it is. And so you can just pivot where your sharing is and talk to them about the products.
For sure. Yes.
And Jamie, to your point where you said like your blocker is getting the confidence to do the ask, I think that's most people's block. And here is just one thing I would encourage you with. Do the hardest thing in your business first. So if you have a list of things you want to accomplish in the week, I used to be really good about sitting down on Sunday evenings and like making my list of things I want to accomplish in my personal life and in my business. In fact, I need to get back to that because that was really helpful for me, but I used to be really good at it. And so what I would do is I would make this list of things in my business and in my personal life, and I would do the hardest things first. And so if asking someone that's been on your heart about working the business or joining your team or whatever the case is, if that's the most difficult thing for you and you have that written on your list for the week, do it Monday. Like, get that done. Do all your reach outs on Monday, Monday or Tuesday, and then fill in your rest of the week with other things you want to accomplish in your business, like reading your book for personal development, watching videos, getting on your team calls, you know, crafting up social media posts, whatever it is, but get those hard things out of the way because it will feel like such a relief comes off of you and that heaviness comes off of you. Because I don't know about y'all, but if I have something weighing me down, it affects everything else I do. And that's in my business and that's in my personal life. And so that is something I really try to focus on is do the stuff that I don't want to do, get it done first. And I don't mean do it sloppy, just do it first.
Totally agree.
I really struggle with people who start out wanting to use the products and saying, I'm not going to sell these. I'm never, once they said that to me, I have a real hard time pushing them back toward, would you post?
Sure. So the way I've handled that in the past, because that's definitely been said to me too. I feel like I've heard it all in 9 years. So the way I would do that is, let's say you said that to me, Joyce, I would say, that's fine. I'm not going to push you to try to sell anything. I just want you to have a really great experience on these products. So let's talk through how to get you the best experience possible. And then as you're checking in and you're doing your follow-ups and their testimony is growing, you could approach it again. You could say, Joyce, I know you told me that you had zero interest in, sharing. I wouldn't say selling. I would say in sharing these products with, your friends or your family. Do you still feel that way? Like just a real casual ask. And they say, yeah, I'm still not, thinking about doing that. You're like, okay, awesome. Doesn't mean you can't come back. Every time you come back, another line I've used is, I know you told me a couple months ago